I am Nathan.
And I am Chris, and today we will be talking about a specific fear that we have regarding entering into adulthood.
The specific fear we'll be analyzing today is the fear of getting adjusted to adulthood life and going through some growing pains when certain luxuries that were present during our childhood are no longer available to us as adults. When it comes to this certain fear, it's definitely one that not only me and Chris deal with. This fear of the growing pains and the adjustment and transition towards adulthood is something that a lot of teenagers may face.
There are even statistics to back that up. An article on prweb.com lists various fears and the percentages that show the amount of students who have those specific fears that they list, and the fear of life after graduation came in second largest in the percentages at 66%.
When it comes to that article and the 66% of the teenagers who have a fear of life after high school, one could assume that for some of those teenagers, if not a majority of them, have that fear due to the fact that the growing pains of adjusting towards adulthood life is a scary thought for everyone who's on the brink of becoming an adult. And also, those teens might know that they won't be able to get away with certain stuff anymore, and will have to be more responsible, which correlates with our fears as well. And we both can relate to those students in the article.
I agree, Nathan. We really can relate to those 66% of students. For me personally, one of the specific things that relates to a topic that I'm afraid of or anxious about is having a lot of new responsibilities, just piling and piling. For example, going to college is something in my plans, and it's going to be a tough transition from high school to college due to college being more serious, since money is involved. And the work will probably be a lot harder. For example, I have talked with some friends who are in college, and they all said that the work is significantly more difficult compared to high school. They said the work consists of multiple research papers, labs, very long essays, and also complicated math subjects as well, which are all things that I'm not looking forward to at all. Along with that, I might look to get a new job as well in the near future. And I can already imagine an unfortunate scenario where I have something to do like an essay or project, or I have to meet up with a classmate to work on a project and also having to get ready to go to work an hour or so after. So overall, I can already see work and school just piling and piling on top of each other. And since I also have problems mismanaging my time, I can see everything being an absolute mess at first, in a transition phase, and it's definitely something that I'm anxious about and very worried.
As for me, my specific fears that correlate with our topic is the fact that there won't be teachers or counselors in college to constantly give reminders on homework assignments and other important tasks, or even being generous on late work, because some professors that I may encounter in college may just be strict to the bone and not care one bit about if I do my assignments or not, since it's technically my responsibility to consistently keep up as an adult. For the most part, I have done a decent job keeping up in my high school career, but those extra reminders or those second chances like late work or doing tests that are present in high school sort of gave me a cushion, comfort, and backup plan, and getting adjusted to adulthood life and college life will probably be a bit of a pain since I will have to learn to not rely on those certain luxuries because there's a good chance that they won't be as frequently available or not even available at all for me in some cases.
Another piece of evidence that shows that the fear of adulthood and the future is very prominent amongst teens is shown in the article from parentology.com, where they come up with a list of teenagers' top 10 fears, and they'll put the fear of growing up at number 6. An interesting quote that I found from the article and list is, young people are still dreaming of college, life after graduation, and their career paths, but they fear what's beyond the comfort of their teenage years. Adulting is hard, and they know it. The quote connects with what we have been mentioning, specifically the part where it says, but they fear what's beyond the comfort of their teenage years, which basically coincides with our whole topic of the fear of getting adjusted to adulthood and going through growing pains as well. So overall, this is another piece of evidence that shows that our specific fear is relevant and prominent throughout teens.
Another thing that may be a struggle for me to adjust to is the fact that the overall playful, fun vibe that high school radiates is something that isn't present in the typical adulthood life from what I've seen. It's all about adults who are focused on their jobs, bills, and even their college studies, and people are only worried about themselves and their loved ones. And in high school, there are usually lots of fun stuff you could do, like mess around with your friends in school. But that type of behavior is something that won't be present in college because people spend money to go to college, so they will be looking to get their money's worth. This also goes for the job aspect of being an adult, probably even more because there's absolutely no room for messing around or having fun when in a job. So overall, I'm going to have to get used to not having such a carefree, fun high school type lifestyle for when the time comes for me to inherit certain responsibilities.
A problem that is a concern to me as well is managing my time well. During my childhood and current teenage years, I've had the luxury of not facing serious repercussions when mismanaging my time. For example, in this quarantine as a teenager, with the only responsibilities for logging into Zoom and making sure I do my assignments, I sort of have the luxury of being able to put things off last minute because a lot of my assignments are generally due by 11:59. But I am self-aware that this is a habit that won't be sustainable going to college and adulthood type responsibilities, like waiting until the last minute to pay my bills or mismanaging my time in the morning when getting ready to go to work are both scenarios that could be catastrophic. So that would lead me into getting into debt and potentially losing the job. Overall, I already know that my constant mismanagement of time is something I'm going to have to correct because I won't have the luxury of being a carefree teenager forever. And as an adult, time is going to be very important, especially with important jobs and scenarios that may arise.
One of the last fears or problems that relates to our topic that I'll be giving a personal insight on is my problem with really being a bit social and how it will impact my adulthood life. As a teen, I could get away with not being that social because for the most part, teenagers usually rely on their parents to handle certain things like appointments, orders, questions, etc. But as an adult, I'm going to have to talk more and make more connections in order to make life easier. And I'm going to have to make my own appointments and certain stuff like that, which will take some adjustments, but I'm going to have to improve on this aspect.
We've shared and identified some potential struggles and our personal fears regarding the topics of growing pains, adjustment to adult life, and getting used to not having certain luxuries. But when it comes to finding a remedy to ease these persistent fears and providing help to try and make the transition smoother, it becomes a lot more complex and hard to ease because everyone has different situations and copes with certain things differently. But some things that can help ease the problem is just having someone to talk to, like a parent, and trying to get advice from them because they have gone through our fears and can give some key insight on how to deal with growing pains and adjustments. Also, keeping a positive mindset is key, and if you struggle from the fear of growing pains and getting adjusted to adulthood, just remind yourself that as long as you are a decent human being, work hard and stay away from bad habits like drugs and stuff, then there is a decent chance that you'll get through the growing pains and adjustments and become a good adult.
I agree with you, Chris, on your solution proposal. At the end of the day, I even figured out myself that it's okay to feel lost and worried about the future of my impending journey towards adulthood. A quote that I found that really stuck with me and really puts the fear that we have been analyzing into deeper perspective is an excerpt from adjustingtoadulthood.com, and the author says, "You are allowed to feel completely lost and confused. There is no instruction manual. All of a sudden you have to figure out what you want to do with your life, pay bills, clean your apartment, cook your own meals, make your own appointments when all you really want to do is drink a bottle of wine and take a nap. It is okay. We are all faking it. Even the person who you are super envious of because they seem to have their stuff together. So at the end of the day, we're all human, and these fears are natural. But just fight through your tough times and battles, and everything will be fine. And also remember that no one's got everything figured out, especially us teenagers, and we will all eventually adjust and forge our own paths." So thank you for tuning in and listening to our personal fears, and hopefully we all manage to get past our fears and problems in the near future.